Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamadine Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavat Gita as it is, Chapter 2, entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. Reading from text 26 through 28. Text 26. Atha chainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitum arhasi. Translation. If, however, you think that the soul is perpetually born and always dies, still you have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. Text 27. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmada pariharyarthe natvam shochitum arhasi. Translation. For one who has taken his birth, death is certain, and for one who is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Text 28. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. All created beings are manifest in their beginning. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when they are annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namine. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatarine. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangolangayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hariyam Tatsat. So, this 26, 27 and 28 we understood from the previous verses till 25. We saw how Krishna was speaking that how the soul is different from the body, and that how we are different. The body is different, the soul is different. So Krishna was stressing the same point for many, many verses together, and Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that the reason for repetition is so that we understand the importance of it, and we understand that we understand the point being made. So when, the point is repeated over and over again, it is making sure that we are understanding what is being told. So that was where we left off last from till text 25. So this text 26, Krishna is giving a counter-argument. Counter-argument, how so? He's saying that to Arjuna that if, however, you think that the soul is always born and it always dies, still there is no reason to lament, O Arjuna. That if you also think that, okay, I am telling you that the soul is eternal, Krishna is saying that I have been telling you that the soul never dies, only body dies. Only the soul never dies. It keeps accepting new material bodies one after the other. But if, however, you want to think, let me say, Krishna is saying, just for argument's sake, even if you want to think that the soul will also die when the body dies, even then you have no reason to lament, Krishna is saying to Arjuna. Why? Why is Krishna saying like this? That, now the entire body is also over, soul is also over, and then when the body takes birth again, the soul will take birth again. So that is how, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport to this particular verse that there's always a class of philosophers who are almost like Buddhists, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. They feel that the soul is actually connected to the body in a way that when the body dies, the soul also dies. That's one group of philosophy. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, very, very important to note this point, that when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers did exist. And they were known as the Lokayatikas and the Vaibhasikas. So these philosophers maintain that life symptoms or the soul takes place at a certain mature condition of material combination. The modern material scientists and material philosophers also think very similarly to this. So according to them, what they say is that the combination is the body is a combination of physical elements, and at a certain stage of the life symptoms develops, and therefore the physical and the chemical elements start interacting with each other. It's a very confusing kind of a philosophy, although it's very, very confusing, it's very complex, but there are certain people who think like this, who think that the soul is developed within the body. That's what they feel. This is how the normal, even today's scientists, Prabhupada says, they think like this. So, Krishna is saying that, okay, my dear Arjuna, if you also do not believe in the eternity of the soul, the eternal existence of the soul, which the Vaibhashika philosophy propagates, there would be still no cause for lamentation. Because no one laments for the loss of certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty, right? That's what these philosophers say, that the body is nothing but just a mere bunch of chemicals. So why is there a need to lament when, if this body is nothing but a bunch of chemicals? What is the need for lamenting? What is the need to cry over that kind of a body, which does not have any existence apart from just being a bunch of chemicals? So, this is what Arjuna is being told by Krishna, that Krishna is saying that Arjuna, even if you want to say that your argument of, I don't want to kill the body, if you want to say like that, but still it's just a bunch of chemicals. You do not have to worry about what is going to, happen to that. Nothing is going to happen. And what is going to happen is explained in text 27 by Krishna. Krishna is saying, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. That for one who has taken his birth is sure to die. And after he takes his, when he is dead, he is sure to take birth again. So this is dhruva. Dhruva means absolute truth. There is no change to this fact. It is a fact that once anything is, everything living, Srila Prabhupada always made this comment, that anything living, even including food, it always comes with an expiry date stamped on it. So all of us actually, have been born with an expiry date stamped upon us. It's just that expiry date is not visible to us. We don't see when our, this body of ours is going to expire. But it is a fact that those who are born are bound to die. Death is certain. It says that as certain as death and taxes. So this is what it is. Death is as certain. There's no other way out of it. There's no one who can escape from this process of death. So Krishna is saying, therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that, Arjuna, even if you consider that, okay, this body is bunch of chemicals. First of all, when you're killing, according to the Shastra, I have already told you that the soul is eternal. It does not die when the body dies. It just changes and accepts a new body. I've told you that. Now, if you want to say that, no, what happens to the body, that is also something, this, that, so many things. But the body is ultimately just a bunch of chemicals. So there is no need to lament for it. If you're going into, say, for a science project, you're a student, and if you're going in for a science project, we must have bought some, chemicals from the store. Suddenly those chemicals drop from our hand, and if they fall, will we sit and cry? Of course, maybe if you don't have more Lakshmi, we might sit and cry. But we'll just go into the store and buy more chemicals. We won't cry so much. It's not the end of the world. We know that. So similarly, Krishna is giving such a logical argument that even if you're thinking that the soul is not eternal, that it is connected in this way to the body, then even then, there is no need for lamentation. There's no need for you to feel bad for, thinking that, you're killing the body. It's just a bunch of chemicals and nothing else. And this text 27 is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada selected this particular verse as one of the 108 important verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a very important verse that, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur, dhruvam janma mritasya cha, that one who has taken his birth is definite to die, and after death he is certain to take birth again. So in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament, O Arjuna. So Krishna is saying, whatever duty you have, pertaining to this body, you should not be afraid to discharge those duties because they are in connection to your body. So don't be afraid and do not lament about it, nor try to avoid discharging your duties. Text 28 goes on to say that all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when they are annihilated. Very logical statement. Very logical statement. Ki one thing which is, in the beginning, it is unmanifested, means it is not there, not in its manifested form. Then there is a certain point when it is in manifestation. Then at the time of annihilation, again it is unmanifest. So Krishna is saying, if you find this statement to be very logical, then Krishna is saying, then why do you need to lament? What is the need for lamentation? If you know this for a fact, that this cycle keeps repeating, that in the beginning there is unmanifestation, then in between there is manifestation, then again there is unmanifestation, then again there is manifestation, again unmanifestation. So this is a cycle going on and on and on. So why are you lamenting? So Krishna is trying to give this kind of a very, very logical argument to Arjuna, to prove to Arjuna, to make him understand that how the body is actually completely different and separate from the eternal soul. And in this context, Srila Prabhupada, very beautifully in this purport, Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example. He says, take for example a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is just the difference. So we all know how the Twin Towers, when they collapsed, they were manifest before, then they were unmanifest for some time, and now there's another tower that is standing in its place. There's something else that has manifested. So that is the example that Srila Prabhupada is giving, that all of this, we need to understand the temporary nature of all of this and try to go beyond to its transcendental state. Try to reach to the eternity of the spiritual soul, that the spirit soul is beyond all of this. Just when the skyscraper would have been existing, there were people who were working in that skyscraper. Then when it became unmanifest, those people started moving out. They found other jobs. They worked in other locations. Then again, when it became manifest again, the people came back again. So like this, we need to understand that this is an ongoing process. Manifestation on manifestation, manifestation on manifestation. So this is what Krishna is trying to explain to Arjuna, very logical way. When we read this text 28, especially when I personally read this for the first time, it just struck me like a thunderbolt, As, like how Krishna is explaining such a logical point. It is so logical. There is no other argument that can defeat this. It is very, very logical. So Krishna is saying, if you feel that I'm saying something so logical, then what is the need for lamentation? So Krishna is actually, in text 26, Krishna is addressing Arjuna very sarcastically as Mahabaho. Mahabaho means the one who is, very, very strong. He is mighty. Srila Prabhupada translates Mahabaho as the mighty armed one. The one who is very powerful, one who is very strong, one who is supposed to be the knower of everything. So Krishna, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions this in the purport, that Arjuna has been addressed here as Mahabaho by Krishna a little sarcastically. Because he at least did not accept the theory of, because Krishna does not accept this theory of the Vaibhashikas. He does not accept it. So as a Kshatriya, and it behooved him to continue to follow its principles. So Krishna is saying that, Arjuna, you are not supposed to be following this bogus philosophy. that everything is basically, from your, bunch of chemicals, that everything is like this, and you are not even recognizing the eternity of the soul, you should not be thinking like this. So therefore, Arjuna is being sarcastically addressed here by Krishna as Mahabaho, saying that you are the mighty armed one. You're supposed to follow the Vedic Sanatan Dharma. So therefore, don't go into all these bogus philosophies and continue to remain a mighty armed one. So like this, Krishna is very beautifully explaining here in the Bhagavad Gita, trying to give out very, very logical explanations to Arjuna that don't fall into these kind of traps and just kill your Kshatriya dharma, basically. So we'll end here. If there's any questions, comments, or reflections, we can take that now. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Very, very, very beautiful class, Mataji. Mataji, I have a question. Mataji, you said no, after each body, then again we'll take again, but will it have some gap? Then what the soul will have? If it is having a gap, then will soul have any form in between, or immediately will take another birth?
Very nice question, Vinaya. It is said that the soul travels with the subtle body. The mind, intelligence, and the ego carries the soul. So the soul is not left alone, but the soul needs a carrier. So the subtle body is the one that carries the soul. So even when the soul accepts the next material body, it is actually the same subtle body carries along with the soul, So that is why even though we may be in a different body, sometimes, we get dreams that we are burning in fire, or, we are falling off a cliff. These are like memories or, flashes of images that are there from our previous life. Prabhupada explains that. So that is why it is said that the subtle body carries the soul, and the difference of the time based on, whether the soul takes on another body immediately or not, it depends on its karma. It is dependent on the karma. If the soul, if the body has been, succumbed to a lot of bad karma, then the soul is carried by the subtle body to the planets below, and they are punished for their bad karmas. And if the soul has, if the body has been, having good karmas, then they are, they get to enjoy sometimes in higher planetary systems. And then once, and so they get a body that is suitable to stay either in the lower planetary system or in the upper planetary system based on their karma. And then once their karmas are, kind of exhausted, and once their, good karma, bad karma is taken care of, then whatever karma and the desires that they had from their previous birth, according to that, the laws of nature makes the soul get attracted to the next body. They get attracted to the womb of the next living entities, the species of life, that mother. So they get the body accordingly, basically. So that's the process. So does that answer your question? Like in hellish planets, if the soul is, used to doing, not the soul, if the body has done a lot of, negative activities and negative bad karmas, then if you read the 3rd canto and the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand what are the different kinds of hellish planets. The soul is actually succumbed to being fried in hot oil, to be run along, without any, like a desert, in hot desert, and so many different things, so many different kinds. And each of these places, they have a body that is suitable for that soul to sustain, the pains of that particular place. And even in the higher planetary system, the pleasures of that particular place, the soul is given a suitable body for that, Just like when we want to go underwater diving, we take on a special suit so we can stay underwater, and and then we come out and wear our, we have our own body. But similarly, if we go down to a lower planetary system, we get a body suitable for that. If we go to the higher planetary system, we get a body suitable to that. And then, based on our karma, then we are moved to the next particular body. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji, you give very nice examples.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. Reflecting again on, some core points of Bhagavad Gita. And as you suggested about this verse, that how, the soul never dies and it becomes just manifest and unmanifest during the period of time. Theoretically, it's very easy to understand, but I don't know how practically we'll be able to imbibe these instructions. I just want to give you an example that recently in our congregation, one lady lost her husband and he was quite young. Children are still unmarried. At that time when she was crying and lamenting and that how she's going to survive and how the kids will be grown up, I know time will definitely, forget everything, and of course Krishna will definitely help. But at that time, all these philosophy of Bhagavad Gita takes a side place. At that time, it's very hard to make our mind or intelligence understand that it was just a soul that passed away and it takes another body, so why to lament? So even for us, it was very hard for us to explain to her because she was lamenting, and I know for 2 months, 2 or 3 months, it will go on. It's very hard. So how to practically, face such situations, and at that time when we really need these instructions of Bhagavad Gita, how to really imbibe those at that critical point of time.
Very, very nice question, Mataji. Thank you so much for that. See, the thing is that it is, at such a time, that's a very, very nice question you asked with a very, very nice, very sad example. So sorry to hear about the loss of that devotee. The thing is that, at such trying times, at such times when we have lost a dear family member, at such times, to talk about philosophy is definitely not a good idea. That you cannot really convince a person that, what has happened is all for the best, and what has happened is, that the soul has just passed on. No way, you should never do that, because that can sometimes anger them also. They can also start saying that how can Krishna be so unkind? They can anyways say that that why is Krishna so unkind? But, many things like this. But such times all they need is emotional support. Now when Arjuna went through, the loss of his son Abhimanyu, at that time, Arjuna cried hysterically. He was very, very attached to his son. And although he was attached to his son, but Arjuna really cried and he was very emotional about it. But he never ever questioned Krishna. He never doubted Krishna. Of course, that is the position of Arjuna, because he is the perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita. So he did not question Krishna that, Krishna, I followed your instruction and look what you did to me. Or now Krishna, look, I did what you said and now this is what you reward me by. You took away my son, so from tomorrow I'm not going to fight. He didn't do any of that. He had full faith in Krishna, and although he became so emotional, although he became so disturbed by the death of Abhimanyu, but still he actually came back to the battlefield with much more vigor, with much more energy, and with full faith in Krishna. Now, of course, we are not at the level of Arjuna. Definitely not. We are not. So we need to accept that. So when any person, especially like this family, they're bereaved of their father, they're bereaved of, Mataji is bereaved of her husband, it's a very, very, emotional setback time. So all they need from devotees is the way that you can really show by your love and care that you really care for them, that Krishna is sending help to them through you, by showing your love and your support to them. Trust me, see, there are ways that you can, say the philosophy. There's ways that you can live the philosophy. So in this situation, you have to live the philosophy. As devotees, as senior devotees, as practicing devotees, you have to show them that Krishna is merciful by your actions. You have to live it, and you have to show that to them. Just at this time, all they need is a shoulder that they can cry on, and if they can say so many things, oh, why did Krishna do this? Why did this happen? You just say, it's okay. Just console them. It's okay. We understand. Don't worry. I am there for you. I am there for you. Don't, from your mouth, even don't take Krishna's name. Because that's the kind of emotional, understanding that they need right now, that support they need right now. Give it to them right now, and then once they're out of this grief, because that is material nature, that slowly with time, it will heal. They will heal themselves. And they will heal themselves only by the love and support that they receive from devotees like yourself. So allow them to heal, and then you can slowly start telling, very slowly, by judging how she's accepting. So definitely not now, but give lots and lots of emotional support. Show your care. Show your genuine care. Does that
Yes,
answer?
Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any more questions?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Just a follow-up on that question. Mataji, very beautiful class and very nice explanation of how it's not just the soul that's carried forward, it is the subtle body that carries the soul forward. I still have to wrap my brain around that, but very, very beautiful explanation. Mataji, so why is it then that I feel like we forget after a while? Someone passes away, we are very sad then, but after a while we forget. And even in our sleep we forget, right? When even that day we would not remember that, something really bad has happened. So if we forget what's happening in this life itself, how would we ever remember everything that's gone through us? And even if we cultivate some Krishna consciousness in one life, how do we remember that and restart? Hopefully we don't have to start from the very beginning. And if we can cultivate that in the next life, how does that even work?
Well, see, the answer is there in the Bhagavad Gita. It was a fantastic question that you have asked. The latter question that you asked, that, what happens if, how much ever, we don't remember, what is going on in this life. So how can we even remember even the kind of Krishna bhakti that we have, accumulated in this life? How will we carry it on? Well, the answer is given by Krishna himself. He's saying in second chapter, Krishna says, Neha bikramanaso asti pratyavayor na vidyate svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if there is swalpa, even if there's very little advancement, even a very little advancement in this process, in this path of devotional service, is neha abhikrama. It never gets deteriorated. It is always there stored out in our spiritual bank account. It is always credited. So, like this lifetime we might be a PhD, but next life we will again have to start again from ABC. It doesn't matter. But spiritual life is actually the way Krishna's mercy is, that yes, if you are, gone up to 80% in your Krishna consciousness, next life you will start from 81%. That is Krishna's mercy. So he makes sure that you will be able to start off, from your Krishna consciousness where you left it out. So that is Krishna's headache. We don't have to bother about that. Krishna will ensure that, because that is the promise he's given in the Gita. So there is no problem about that at all. He will make sure that wherever we have left off, how much ever we have done, that is never ever destroyed. That is always credited into our account, and we'll start off where we left off in our previous life. The next thing is that why we don't remember, because again Krishna says, Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha, that from me comes remembrance, intelligence and forgetfulness. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says that the reason why he gives us forgetfulness is so that we ourselves don't go mad. Just imagine if being in the human body, if we remember when I was a pig, how I used to distinguish, sorry to become very graphical, but how I used to distinguish between wet stool and dry stool. This is exactly Prabhupada's words. Prabhupada says this. If we would remember that how much we would relish those wet stools, just like how we relish, desserts nowadays in a human form of life, that's how we used to relish that in the pig form of life, we will never be able to live with ourselves. We'll not be able to live. So those who actually remember their past, that's why become a little disturbed mentally, because they are not, able to forget what has happened to them. And that doesn't allow you to live life. So it is actually Krishna's, great mercy that he allows us to forget. And that is why we also have to depend on Krishna only to remember him also. Because even remembrance comes from Krishna. So remembrance of Krishna himself needs to be given by Krishna himself. The only thing is that we have to desire. Once we desire that, Krishna, please allow me to remember you and never forget you. Never forget you. Please bless me, Krishna, that I always want to remember you and I never want to forget you. So that is the aspiration of the devotee. So does this answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very graphical. Probably not the best. Yeah, I don't want to remember that. Thankfully, I do forget. I'm very grateful to Krishna for that. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.